So, let me introduce you to Rob White, whose story he can tell for himself. I gave him accommodation when he was in need. He started smoking dope in his teens, but progressed to Class A drugs and heroin and died at the age of 29 of a heroin overdose. I was surprised to meet him after he'd been released from the Leadsom Clinic, a detoxification centre in Portsmouth, so I asked him to tell me his story. He too, like Jamie Roberts from Stubbington, died of a heroin overdose shortly after the making of this video. So Rob, I was surprised when you told me you'd been detoxified, as I thought it was only dope you'd taken. What is the Leadsom Clinic?
It's just a place for alcoholics and drug addicts where they go and clean up their act, basically.
And did you go there voluntarily?
Yeah.
Why was that? What made you go there, do you think? Tell me.
Well, just to give up this lifestyle and that, and stop sticking needles in my arms every day.
Yeah. So you must have felt pretty drastic to get to that extent.
I was glad when they rang me up.
Yeah.
They said that they had a place for me. I've been waiting months for that.
Yeah. Is the agony that you go through really painful?
It is, yeah. But when you go in there, they dope you up so much that for the first like 3 or 4 days you don't really feel anything anyway, because they give you like Valium and stuff called clomidine, which basically mongs you right out, and you're just sleeping all the time. But then when that wears off and they lower all your dosages, that's when you basically have to do the cluck, as they call it.
The cluck? Really? What do you mean the cluck? Tell me about
cluck, well, the cold turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, physically I know, but mentally, it's draining, isn't it? Are you at the end of yourself? You know. Tell me how you felt.
What then?
Yeah.
In there. Well, just stomach cramps, diarrhea. 1 minute I was boiling hot. I had to take all my clothes off.
Yeah.
And the next minute I was freezing cold, and I had 3 jumpers on, 4 t-shirts, and 2 jackets.
And emotionally though, how were your emotions?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what heroin does, it suppresses your emotions.
Yeah.
Because it's a strong painkiller, isn't it? Really?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's an opium, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically you're just numb every day, and you don't think of anything like your emotions and that. And then once all the drugs wore off, basically, you know what I mean? You felt depressed, started crying, you know,
really?
Just thought of all the worst things that could
happen. Yeah.
That has had.
Do you get anxiety, fear?
Yeah, panic attacks, butterflies.
Yeah.
Everything just seems such an effort these days to do.
Do you feel as though you're heavy? You know, things pressing down on you. You can't move. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been through. I went through the horrors on acid, and it was terrible for me. And about 3 years later, I don't know whether it's flashbacks or what, right? But I actually was going out of my mind thinking, I mean, it's worse. The flashbacks were worse than when I was on it, and I knew I couldn't come out of it. History, really. You know, I met you at number 2, Heroine, yeah? And you must have been about how old then? 22 years old?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
29.
So that's 7 years ago. Yeah. Now, when you was with me, I know you were smoking gear, and I didn't realise that it would get on to other stuff.
Yeah.
But why was you smoking gear then? You know, what was the reason for smoking dope then?
Don't know, because I didn't like it.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Was it sociable smoking? Or left me, you went off, where did you move to?
Over to Southsea, wasn't it?
Southsea, yeah. And was you working at that time?
No.
So how did you get money then? Did you get your dope and that?
We used to sell dope over.
Did you have to steal stuff to get money?
Yeah.
To buy the dope or buy... on marijuana, I mean?
Oh, right, yeah, well... Yeah, he even stole them just to get money really for everyday living and for dope.
Yeah. So you had to survive somehow. I mean, Did you ever nick off your relatives?
No, never.
Only So you had some sort of honour, did you?
Oh yeah.
Even though you'd feel a bit.
I don't mind nicking from shops and stuff like that, but I've never stolen from any of my family or friends.
Right. Yeah. So. After, going back to when you was about 15, were you aware of the drugs then?
Yeah, I was aware they were around. Yeah.
Were you into drugs then, at 15?
Not really, no.
Were you smoking at 15?
Yeah, I was smoking fags at 15. Yeah.
Is that because your mum and dad did it, was it?
Yeah, used to just pinch them out their packets.
Oh right.
Me and my mates would chip in on a pack, like.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
What
about drinking and stuff like that?
Yeah, and drinking, drinking bottles of cider and that when I was like 15, 16. Walking around the streets.
Yeah. Are you your only child, or you got a brother?
No, I've got an older brother. He's a couple of years older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think about you being on this dope now?
Well, no, he wasn't very happy about it.
No.
And he was glad that I went into detox and sorted myself out.
So from 15-year-old smoking fags into a bit of booze and cider drinking, you got onto marijuana about 18, 19. To support that habit, you had to do a few thieving. Did you ever get sent away to prison?
Yeah, once I got caught for a burglary and got put on remand in Winchester. But I got out after a couple of weeks and got community service and all that.
I mean, I know your relationship with Carla broke down in the end, right? You used to get fighting and writing, but was that due to smoking dope, do you think?
I don't know really, partly probably.
Partly.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose sense of, I don't know, I mean, because I never got dependent on dope and stuff, I don't know what quite.
Yeah. It's more psychological though, isn't it, the dope thing?
Psychological. It does affect your relationship with people, doesn't it?
Yeah. You can like wake up, if say you got really stoned the night before, you could wake up really moody the next day.
Right.
And if you haven't got any dope to skin up, then
you can get a bit
can be a bit of tension in the house.
Yeah. Did you ever meet girls that were under dope as well?
Yeah, every girlfriend I had's been druggies.
What? Just marijuana or other stuff?
Ease.
Ecstasy.
Going out clubbing, doing ecstasy.
Ecstasy. When did you start ecstasy? Tell me about ecstasy. Tell me what you know about that.
Is that new designer drug brought out in the early 90s, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
In the early 90s, yeah? Did you know about it?
Yeah.
Tell me about
they
that.
were about 20 quid then as well. But they were proper MDMA, not like nowadays, they're crap. You can like buy them for like 2 quid and 3 quid. And they're just full of garbage. Like in them days they were like proper pure MDMA. It was like...
Oh, I don't know what MDMA means, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a real... Yeah.
And how did you afford that then?
I think I must have been working then.
Yeah. And were your girlfriends on that stuff as well?
Yeah.
Smoking as well?
Just go out every weekend without fail.
So smoking, what about drinking at the same time?
Yeah. Just popping pills, drinking, smoking pot. After the rave we'd all go back to someone's house, pop a few more pills, drink a few more drinks, smoke loads of pot.
Were you into heroin? Smoking as well?
Just go out every weekend without fail.
So smoking, what about drinking at the same time?
Yeah. Just popping pills, drinking, smoking pot. After the rave we'd all go back to someone's house, pop a few more pills, drink a few more drinks, smoke loads of pot.
Were you into heroin? No, thinking of that.
No, not at all.
What about cocaine?
Yeah, I'd done some coke as well.
How did you do coke?
Snorted it.
Sniffing it, yeah? So I've never done it, you see, I don't know, right? But what did you think about people on heroin though? What were your opinions?
What then?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all like negative about them. I didn't like the drug at all.
Oh right, you felt that?
Yeah, I thought it was really dirty.
But you could smoke dope, you could take ease or snort a bit of coke, but people on heroin were... Yeah. Did you consider them to be...
dirty
lowlife? Scoundrels. Scoundrels.
Dirty, rotten scoundrels.
Did you know any scoundrels, rotten scoundrels? Did you know any people?
Not really. Whoever was doing it kept it quiet because they knew the feeling about it.
Right, because it's a bad mood, yeah. Did you know anybody that ever died through taking overdoses?
Yeah.
Who were they?
Yeah, a lad down in Mitre Court.
Yeah?
Ollie, he got found dead.
Yeah. Overdose of what, do you know?
Heroin,
Oh, he was on heroin, yeah? So, have you taken LSD?
Yeah.
What about magic mushrooms? I mean, you've been into that as well?
Yeah.
And but cocaine, all right? Ecstasy, right? When did you start considering doing heroin?
It was a few years ago now. I went to my cousin's house and he had an ounce of coke. And we'd done loads of that, and then afterwards he was like all, you know what I mean, he was like wired up sort of thing, he didn't know, he was all like strung out, and he goes, oh, try some of this, this will like calm you down a bit, do you know what I mean, mellow you out.
What was that?
That was the smack, the heroin. And he's like passing it over on a bit of tin foil with a foil tube, and you like just burn it and suck it in, like Chase the Dragon.
Chase the Dragon, yeah?
So I've done that a few times and I was sick and that, and I didn't really like it, and I wasn't bothered about it then.
Right, yeah.
And then Yeah, then every time I seemed to bump into my cousin, he seemed to like have it.
And was he addicted, do you think?
Yeah.
He was hooked?
Yeah.
Yeah? And he'd help you supply with you?
Yeah, he'd give me some, and then I ended up liking it in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up starting to buy it myself.
So when did you start injecting that stuff? Why would you want to inject it after chasing the dragon? What's the difference?
Well, it just wasn't affecting me after a while. I'd have to do loads of it.
Really?
You know what I mean? I'd have to put tons of it on the foil and smoke.
And how much did it cost you? Lots of money?
Yeah, it's quite expensive. It's £80 for a 16th.
What's the amounts?
Yeah.
So how would you get that money if you ain't working?
Go out shoplifting every day.
To get the stuff?
Yeah, and then other people would come around and they'd want some, and you'd take their money and go and get, add an extra tenner onto their bills, and they'd give you a bit for sorting it out, and then you'd take a bit out for sorting it out, and add a tenner on here and there.
Oh, right, to survive, yeah. So, and your girlfriend as well, was she ever into it as well?
Yeah, she's the one who got me into injecting.
Really? She was on it first, so she encouraged you, did she?
Yeah, I was only smoking it at the time. And then she got out of prison, and she come round to my house, and I was having a barbecue one night, and there was a few people around, and then just ended up having an injection that night.
And
then every time since, it was just, she just used to get the needles out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like cooked up already before.
Do you remember
I had
that?
chance to say anything.
So you'd get the old silver girl out, would you?
Yeah.
And did it used to alleviate your anxieties, or did you only take it for kicks, or did you have to take it to feel good? Every day?
Every morning. Yeah, every day. That's when I had a habit, I realised I had a habit then.
And how long was this lasting for?
What do you mean?
How long was you injecting for?
It's only been for the last few months that I've been injecting.
Yeah. And to get the money, you'd have to go and shoplift.
Yeah.
So when did you realise you was actually dependent and you wanted to get off it?
Well, when you wake up poorly, sniffing, and your stomach cramps, and feel depressed and all that. You know what I mean? There's only one thing that can cure it, and that's having another hit.
Yeah. How often did that occur?
Every day.
Every day?
Every morning.
You used to wake up every morning?
Yeah. That's why you'd always save some for the morning, because the mornings were always bad. You know what I mean?
So you feel bad in the morning?
To get up and go out and...
Tell me what you feel like in the morning. Do you want to wake up?
Yeah, you just wake up, you just wake up like that.
Yeah.
And your knees are telling it, your stomach's cramping.
Yeah.
You feel, depressed or whatever, and you just know what can sort it out.
Do you have to get up? Do you have to get up?
Yeah, you have to get up.
And if you didn't have a fix, if you couldn't take any gear, what would you be doing?
Just be laying there, being ill, like you got the flu, bad case of the flu.
Yeah. But you knew that a fix would help you?
Oh yeah, a fix would sort it out instantly.
Straight away?
Within seconds, yeah. You're back, you know what I mean?
Back to normal?
Yeah.
And that happened to you?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And did you ever have to go a long time without this fix?
No.
Could you always get it?
Yeah, I've always had it.
So if you couldn't get it, it would be agony for you? Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what moves you. So what prompted you to try and get a bit of help to get off this gear?
Oh, just all my good mates were saying how skinny I was getting and
really?
how rough I was looking and stuff like that. And my brother was coming round every day.
Yeah.
And I knew he suspected something.
Yeah.
And I knew he wasn't too happy about it. Basically, I used all the veins up in my arms, so I couldn't inject in my arms anymore.
Really? What, did you inject in more than one place?
Oh yeah, I had to inject in around my ankles. So it was the only veins that I could, get up, because all these ones just collapsed and thrombosed.
What, the veins collapsed? Thrombosed, really?
Yeah.
And, were you not concerned about that, or didn't it bother you?
To be honest with you, at the time when I was a smackhead, I wasn't bothered.
Would you ever go with me to talk to the youngsters and tell them not to get on it?
Yeah, even if I could persuade one person not to do it.
Yeah.
It would be
a good thing. A good thing. So you're 29 years old.
Yeah.
You've gone through all this in all this sort of time. Do you believe in God? Have you got any faith in God? Do you know anything, knowledge of God yourself?
Not really.
So have you ever sort of felt the need to cry out to God to help you, deliver you?
Not really, no.
No, because that happened to me, you see,
Yeah.
When I was in my dreadful strait, I cried out to God and he came to help me, so I just wondered if it happened to you, that's all.
No, he didn't come and help me.
Yeah. If I said to you, I could introduce you to somebody that if you met that person and had trust in that person, you could be saved from this addiction forever. How would you feel about that?
Well, I could be saved.
I could introduce you to that person.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd like to meet him.
Right, do you know what his name is?
No.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
That's what he does. He saves people,
Yeah.
delivers people. And that's what I'm up to.
Saving, cause I've still got a major craving. I'm not out the woods yet.
But that's what he does. He saves you. Yeah. Now I'm introducing you to him. You see.
I'm starting to look at all my arms and seeing all my veins coming back, and then I'm thinking,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You're thinking that. Yeah.
Now they're coming back.
Yeah. Well, you want to be. You need to be delivered from that craving. You see.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there we are.
So the moment you started and the moment you finished, until you went into detox, life was bad for you.
Yeah.
Did you know anybody that ever died through taking overdoses?
Yeah.
Who were they?
Yeah, the lad down in Mitre Court.
Yeah?
Ollie, he got found dead.
Overdose of what, do you know?
Heroin, yeah.
Oh, he was on heroin, yeah?
Yeah. You know, depressed or whatever, and you just know what can sort it out.
Do you have to get up? Do you have to get up?
Yeah, you have to get
And
up.
if you didn't have a fix, if you couldn't take any gear, what would you be doing?
Just be laying there, being ill, like you got the flu,
Yeah.
bad case of the flu.
Yeah. But you knew that a fix would help you?
Oh yeah, a fix would sort it out instantly.
Straight away?
Within seconds, yeah. You were back, you know what I mean?
Back to normal?
Yeah.
And that happened to you?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And did you ever have to go a long time without this fix?
No.
Could you always get it?
Yeah, I've always had it.
So if you couldn't get it, it would be agony for you?
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what moves you. So what prompted you to try and get a bit of help to get off this gear?
Oh, just all my good mates were saying how skinny I was getting and
Oh, really?
how rough I was looking and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And my brother was coming round every day.
Yeah.
And I knew he suspected something.
Yeah.
And I knew he wasn't too happy about it.
Mm.
And basically I used all the veins up in my arms, so I couldn't inject in my arms anymore.
Really? What, did you inject in more than one place?
Oh yeah, I had to inject in around my ankles. So the only veins that I could, get up, because all these ones just collapsed and thrombosed.
What, the veins collapsed?
Mm. Yeah.
Thrombosed, really?
Yeah.
And, were you not concerned about that, or didn't it bother you?
To be honest with you, at the time when I was a smackhead, I wasn't bothered.
Really?
So all I bothered about was getting the one up, really.
Really?
Getting one up, yeah.
God,
It's bad, Dave, I know.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Would you persuade people to come off this stuff, or would you persuade them not to get involved in it?
Yeah, it's bad news, mate.
Would you ever go with me to talk to these youngsters and tell them not to get on it? Keep
Yeah,
off it?
yeah, even if I could persuade one
Yeah.
person not
One-
to do it,
Yeah, yeah,
it would be...
a good thing.
Mm.
So you're 29 years old.
Yeah.
You've gone through all this in all this sort of time. Do you believe in God? Have you got any faith in God? Do you know anything, knowledge of God yourself?
Not really.
So have you ever sort of felt the need to cry out to God to help you, deliver you?
Not really, no.
No, because that happened to me. You see,
Yeah.
when I was in my dreadful strait, I cried out to God and he came to help me. So I just wondered if it happened to you. That's all.
No, he didn't come and help me.
I just thought I might ask that one.
Well, through injecting. When you first start injecting, where your arms aren't used to it,
Yeah.
they bruise to start with,
Oh, see.
and leave little lines of bruises up your arms.
And didn't that bother you?
Well, yeah, it did, because I had to wear a jumper all summer. I wore a long
Well,
sleeve shirt.
I don't mean because you wore a jumper, but didn't it bother you that you was doing that to yourself?
No, not
Why,
really.
what do you think?
Didn't think anything really, Dave.
You just wanted to get a fix?
Yeah. And I knew these bruises would go away anyway after a while. Once I carried on doing it, I knew they'd just go away anyway. It's just, that happens to start with.
What's septicemia? What is septicemia?
Septicemia. It's blood. What would you call it? Something in your blood.
Blood clot.
No, it's the blood disease. Isn't it?
Through dirty needles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And would you not have got that trouble?
Yeah.
Were you concerned about that, or didn't it bother you?
I wasn't bothered at the time, Dave.
How about now?
Thinking back now, yeah, I am.
Would you want to go back to that?
No, I don't.
Would you avoid it if you could?
Yeah.
So, do you tell yourself this when you attempt it?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, how do you handle temptation when you think that you could